here.
Yep. Okay, we're running.
Sure.
Oh, it's right, your phone?
Yeah, I'll hold them there.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom, you're set.
You guys ready?
Now we have the date.
Call the meeting back to order. Okay.
There, we did the pledge.
Public comments? Are there any public comments? No public comments? Miscellaneous matters. Following matters will be discussed and possible action taken by the town board unless otherwise noted. Item A, Amy isn't here yet, so we'll just skip that one. Alright, let's go right down to item B here. Request to extend the Harvest View Developers Agreement.
He's gonna be here after 6 also.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm here.
Streetlight request in the entrance of Rolling Meadows in the town's right of way.
6 o'clock also, Tom.
Vote?
That was simple.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Anytime you're gonna throw it.
Well, we probably should. They thought it was 6 o'clock, so.
They didn't get an agenda?
Yeah, but it doesn't say that the board meeting's gonna, I mean, you can do what you want, but.
It says immediately after the budget meeting. Item D, policy and procedure for zoning violations.
Bill,
Okay. I've gone over this over and over it, and I think I've got it where I feel comfortable with it. So I don't know if the board had a chance to look it over. A prior couple revisions had owner/tenant or things like that. So I have complainant number 1 because it might not be from an owner. Tried to make it flow so things are kind of in order now on here.
So you had a problem with, I got notes here with 6 and 7, correct? Bill?
Yeah, 6 I revised, stating when those 30 days actually start. That was the big one.
Okay.
And 7 gives the property owner or tenant, whoever it is, the ability to come in and ask for an extension.
So that's basically all you changed, correct? Okay, I'll make the motion to approve.
So moved.
Discussion?
That looks pretty good.
Nailed it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Item E, request to adjust or reduce planning charges for invoices. Was he gonna be here?
yeah, he's coming, but I'm sure not this early. Maybe you should go to the fire department stuff since,
Well, I'm going down the agenda here. Item F, Vernon response to Waukesha County on-site plan of operation. That's Amy 2. All right. Item G, fire protection ordinance and fire department selection of employee manual. Supervisor 3.
Okay, third, let's go to my match.
The letter?
Yeah, I just gotta find where to put it over now. I apologize, I dropped my whole thing on the way out the door. Kind of a mixed match. Okay. I'm just gonna read what took place at the meeting. We had 2 basic things we were gonna review, and we did. I'm not sure we reached an agreement, but I guess we didn't, on the first item. According to the chief during our ordinance committee meeting, leave of absence should be allowed up to 1 year, and those should not be counted in the maximum allowable employees, along with our 1 current honorary member. Committee members, along with the president and vice president of the fire commission, did not agree. according to the fire department's own administrative policy, it limits personnel leave for a period of no more than 30 days. The chief may allow an extension up to an additional 30 days, but would require further justification. In the chief's defense on this, his reasoning, which was sound to some degree, was if we've got a paramedic that goes on leave for another job, a new job, and we'd like to get him back, but he has a probationary period, if I'm saying this wrong, let me know, of 30 days, 60 days, whatever. I think that's what the 30 and 60 were put in for originally, just guessing at the dates. Then he wouldn't want to lose them, but then the question is, when you bring him back, do you cut him loose for that time and bring him back through the normal procedure? Because the fire board has something called eligibility list by commission rules. They're supposed to maintain an eligibility list. So if we had a bunch of people come in and we were full and couldn't hire anymore, the remainder would go on an eligibility list. Now, who gets preference coming back in? The people that were on leave? And the fire commission's objection is no, they're not on leave, they're not available to work, they're not on leave, they're done. Chief says, well, we can lose people that way. I don't have the proper suggestion for that at this point. I listened to a lot of discussion on it, a whole lot, for both sides. And both sides have some valid points. We didn't even touch on medical leave. That's a given. I mean, people on medical leave are protected by state law, federal law. I mean, they're covered, so I don't think we have to go there at all. But leave for personal reasons, I guess is the way we have to word this. For personal reasons, has to be one way or the other, and I don't think it extends to a year. That seems like an abnormal length of time. I don't know what the longest time when you join a department is where you're on probation and cannot work someplace else. Don't know that. But I'm assuming 60 days would cover almost anything.
No.
How long?
Most people are on a probationary period of 1 year. And what you have to remember is with 6213, which is how we operate a fire department with all the different state statutes, is that within your first 1 year of employment, you are in a probationary period. You can be let go for cause or without cause. So
That's a statute.
Right, but
Does
the reason
any
we
fire
let
department you know have a 1 year probation period?
all of them.
Well,
Every fire
by
department-
statute, but
Every
do they
fire
put-
department, no, it has a 1 year. My fire department's 18 months probationary period.
That's in your handbook.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see that.
No,
All right,
no.
So that brings up that question of, do we want somebody that could be gone for a year to be on the payroll? If you had 15 people that pulled out and went for a job, do we want to reduce the staff by that much? I mean, there's two ways to look at this. I don't want to give up people, but I don't want to have ridiculous dates on things.
What is the question?
The question is,
Can we,
when they're on
the way
leave,
I'm going at that, Eddie, is do we need, first of all, I think this is a labor attorney question.
well, that's,
Second of all, we should get all of the questions that need to be answered down on paper so we can send it to them so we don't waste a lot of time.
I asked for
with
that at
the
the
labor
end of the
attorney.
meeting. What I asked for was, Alex is creating a new document for hire, a application form, if you would. The commission claims they want things added to that. They want, if someone's gone for, let's say, a year, I guess I'd agree with them then, I want them to come back through the normal procedure. They can come back, but shouldn't they go through review again? I'm going to base it on what I was told. I was told that the commission looked at 4 different applications where they were told that a background check was completed. And I was told that 4 of them were found not to be correct. Now, you can make that semantics, you can make what you want, but I don't like it when people come in
Well,
and
if we
give me
don't
one
have it,
answer.
if we don't have, I'm thinking about this Swayze thing, if we don't have it in legalese and written down somewhere in the handbook how it's gonna be handled, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. And it's gonna cost us not only a lawsuit, it's gonna cost the insurance company, we're gonna have to pay attorney fees. So we need to figure this out, and I think we need to get to the labor attorney.
I think so too, because I wasn't gonna sit here and make a judgment against Alex or the commission. I mean,
No.
they have responsibilities and authorities, they have to be able to ask the questions they want.
And the chief
but
has an
he
idea
has
on how he
authority-
wants it, you have an idea how you want it, the commissioners have an
Yeah,
idea.
too many variables here
There
for
were
me
so
to
many
say,
variables.
Yeah,
The
I
labor
can't-
attorney's the one that's gonna
I
be the
can't
one
split the baby. Okay.
that's gonna figure it out if it comes down to a lawsuit.
Well, here's what I asked. I asked Alex to present his final form for the application to the commission by next Friday. Then they will have another week to come back and say, here's what we want, okay? That way we get a document completed, rather than sitting for months listening to this back and forth on spelled wrong.
Okay.
That's ridiculous. We need to finish this, get it someplace where we can get it to a labor attorney, and finalize it. That's what I meant. I will not cut the baby in half to make a decision.
Okay.
I think it's out of my authority to do so.
So what direction, specific direction did you give the chief?
We would like
Did
to
the
have the
committee-
chief direct,
Is
can
this?
you have
are you
that ready
bringing-
by next Friday?
Hey, let me ask you this, are you bringing this to the town board, to have the town board make a judgment on that and send it to Alex?
Yes.
Okay. So, not the committee, this is coming from the town board.
So,
So, what's the motion, Ed?
The motion would be to have Alex present his, what would you want to call it?
It's an
Your
application.
Your application to the fire commission for review by next Friday.
Chief?
can I fill in a little bit here?
Sure.
We've had an exhaustive process of trying to develop the application jointly with the commission. We went through several meetings where we essentially put the application up on a large screen, went through it line by line, based on their input, made a ton of changes. Trimmed it down because of certain things they didn't want to see. A lot of feedback from them, from a couple members of their committee, and I don't know if there's a little strife in between the committee or with the commission, but we did all the changes on the current application that we have based on their input. And
Let me tell you how ridiculous it is. I hear there's spelling changes up at the beginning of the document that haven't been changed for months. Is that true?
no,
So your document has no spelling errors on the...
no,
Can I get a copy of it?
we have the revised application,
No.
and we could have had it already up on the website. They're the ones that have said you can't do that until it's reviewed and all these different issues. They have
They have the authority, Alex, to make sure the questions they want are on that so that they're approving it based on the information necessary to make a valid judgment. That's their responsibility per the manual.
their responsibility for the hiring, the firing, and the discipline of our employees. I think the actual responsibility of that employment application lies with the town board and
Well, that's where we're gonna bring it.
the HR.
That's where we're being
But-
forced to bring it, because I can't get agreements out of people.
So we've been working with them for months trying to get this done.
I'm gonna solve it for you.
So
No, really, I'm tired of
No, really,
listening to
that's-
it, just like
I mean,
Tom was.
I think.
I have the
I don't wanna
application
continue.
done. It's on my computer right now.
Okay.
I have the application done. It's on my computer. I can show it to you.
I
Well,
wish
he's
you'd
gonna
told me
give
that
you.
last night, I could've given him a copy to take with him.
I told them that.
All right.
So,
All right,
anywho.
all right.
So you'll have it. I will email it to Karen.
So, make a motion.
He did.
Is it complete? Did I get everything in there?
Yeah, but there's no second.
So
There was
it's
a motion
reviewed
made by
everybody gets their
Supervisor
copy.
Ed Moline to move to have the Vernon Fire Chief Alex Feldy present the Vernon Fire Department job application to the Fire Commission for its review by Friday, October 26, 2018.
No, this is gonna be in the employment manual, this,
No, it's-
application?
I don't think so. It's our application that's posted online.
Okay.
That's what this is.
Where's the biggest bone of contention?
I-
What's the biggest problem?
Twofold.
Yeah.
Leave of absence.
Yeah.
They're concerned that if somebody goes on leave of absence for up to a year,
Yeah.
like you're saying, and they come back,
What
they could
status
have
are
all
they?
sorts of violations. in that
Okay,
case.
yeah, right.
So in that case, they were saying, well, they ought to come back through the fire commission, whose job it is to review the people for the chief's appointment, and then give the chief to go ahead to put them on.
Don't automatically put them back on the department without a review.
And that's what they're complaining about. He's saying, I don't need that because we review them. And then I hear, well, they don't review them because we've had 4 of them that didn't get reviewed, and we found this. And I'm tired of it.
That's a different issue. The issue they had with the background checks was for the initial people that we did interviews for that are new hires.
You don't have to tell me.
I know, but so that, because you just told them something a little different, that where the contention came in was that one of the commission members did some background checks on his own and found something different than what our person came up with. And that was someone's impression that was maybe someone's trying to be dishonest, which I think is just, it was an oversight. And with the way the last application was written, there was a lot of vagueness as to what was actually being asked.
It was ambiguous. It was ambiguous.
Yeah. And so that was the intent of trying to clean up the application, was to say, let's make things as clear as they can be.
Right.
The issue of the going on a leave of absence, I don't know how or why that came up, but what I tried to explain to the commission is that an employee who's on a leave of absence is still an employee of the Town of Vernon Fire Department. If they're on a leave of absence, they still fall under the requirements for reporting changes in personal statistics. Any incident that happens that results in something that the department needs to be notified, such as being arrested for, say, a drunk driving or whatever, they have a responsibility, whether they're on a leave of absence or not, to report that to the department.
Okay.
Subsequently, the insurance company also, and correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, runs everyone's license once a year, right? Mm-hmm. So we're doing those checks. They're not doing it. I'm not doing it. The clerk's office is doing it. So those things are being done. So I don't know where the concern came of someone on a leave of absence. Typically, anyone who takes a leave of absence for a year is going to a career fire department where they have a probationary period, and I understand that their career is the most important thing to them. That's why we have a lot of flexibility for them to go. Because when they come back, they already know our system, they're already trained, and we have to spend no money to bring them back into the fold.
Okay.
So when somebody goes on leave of absence, do they have to fill out a form stating?
They give me a letter, and they say, I am taking a leave of absence for due to being hired by XYZ Fire Department. My intent is once my probation period is done, I want to come back to work. And we've had a very good, successful retention of people that have left our department to get a career job and have come back. That doesn't happen in a lot of organizations.
No, I'm saying, why does it even have to be addressed on the application for a hire?
It's not. It's a totally different issue.
Okay.
Well, here, you got to fix your book. Employee leave of release. This is your document. Vernon Fire Department Administrative Policy. Personnel leave shall be approved for a period of not more than 30 days. However, an extension beyond the original 30 days may be approved at the chief's discretion, provided such request is submitted in writing, which you say they do. Such extension will be limited to an additional 30-day period. Request for leave exceeding 60 days will require further justification. So, you're locking it down to less than a year unless you make a special justification for every one of those people.
Right. And we handle everything on a case-by-case basis. And I've had people that have come and they've said, well, I have some family issues, I have some personal issues, whatever, and we've given 30-day leaves of absences and have said, in 30 days, you need to come back. And we handle that on a case-by-case basis. And that's a personal leave for that particular circumstance. To me, that's a different issue than someone who's getting a job. So, I don't think from a legal standpoint, we can...
What we did is we asked Ed, as the chairman of the ordinance committee, to take a look at this.
Right.
He's bringing us a recommendation, and there's a motion on the floor. I'm not going to supersede a committee or go after the chief or go after anybody. I'm just going to go keep doing what we asked that committee that Ed chairs to do. And he did what he was asked to do, and he brought it back. So, there's a motion on the floor. You want to read the motion again, Karen?
The motion is made by Supervisor Ed Moline to have the Vernon Fire Chief Alex Feldy present his Vernon Fire Department employment application to the Fire Commission for its review by Friday, October 26, 2018.
I thought it was to the
We
town
add to
board.
that, then it comes to the board for review
I didn't hear
to the
that.
labor attorney.
So you're adding, and then
Well,
it comes,
let's just bring it back to the board and then
We'll
we'll look at
discuss
it
whether it
and
needs
then
to go
we'll
there or
put it on
not.
the agenda again and then if we need.
I
think
heard
we-
labor attorney, I didn't wanna leave him out, so,
Right, we'll get there.
okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
is there a time frame for them to bring it back to the town board?
A week.
After the fire
Alex says
commission?
he can give it to him by, well.
No, I think
give
she's
him next
asking,
Friday.
are
I gave
they
him next
gonna,
Friday.
are they gonna get something back to you within a certain
In a
amount of
week.
time?
I have a question, Chief.
Yeah.
How do we know the insurance company's doing due diligence following up on these situations?
Because the clerk always, she just recently sent me a request for information for 2 or 3 employees that she needed their driver's license numbers and something else because they were doing their check, right, Karen?
I'm sorry, yeah, I can double check that appointment application.
So the clerk is then notified when a leave of absence starts?
No, but when the insurance company gets our roster, they run those people that are on our roster to make sure that they have a valid license and all those other things. It's also part of our SOP that, again, if you have a valid license, you can drive. If you don't, or something changes, you gotta let us know.
Yeah. If they don't let you know and they
Then
come
they're subject
back,
to discipline.
then it's dismissal, possible dismissal.
I could go
Potentially.
one step
You have that
further.
in there.
Since
You have
you
that
brought
in
that up, I need to mention that we had talked about the honorary member who is the floater for the water committee.
Yeah.
If he's not included in the number of employees and he has an accident, I don't think insurance is gonna cover him. He's not an employee.
I can check that.
So would he not be,
Well, that's a question for labor.
we need to look at
Yeah.
that, labor attorney.
Yeah.
Because he just mentioned insurance, it didn't dawn on me, but yeah, what happens if he's not on the roster?
Well, he is on the roster, he's just not, the definition we talked about was, is he an active member versus a non-active member, remember?
Well, is he an employee or not employee? Let's put it that way.
He is an employee, it's just a definition of active versus non-active. So, and that's what caused a lot
Should
of
you
discussion.
protect one or not? I don't care.
All right, let's move
Let's
on
go to
here.
number 2. The second item relates to our 5 intercept agreements. All agreements share the one clarifying statement, which is to pay for all fees within 30 days of the month, the invoice for the Vernon Fire Department billing service or from the town of Vernon as applicable. Since the or is there, we don't feel the wording needs to be changed on any of them. That gives us the option to go either way, which is what was discussed. We bill direct or not. So
Nothing will change.
all of them are the same, and there should be no changes required on those. The one thing I do mention is that I saw pricing on the bottom. Let's say we get a change of personnel around the group. Who's gonna remember that we got a 3-year contract, or a 3-year agreement that has to be reviewed if we're gonna change a fee schedule? Or we're forced to keep the same pricing for 3 years, even if we change the fee schedule. So somebody needs to look at that and decide what they wanna do with it.
That hasn't changed since
No.
2013.
I think in that case, it would just, when we start the budget process in July, we would have to say, or it would be our responsibility to come to you guys and say, hey, you know what, our fees are at $450, they've been there for the last 10 years.
My simple question is, who's gonna remember we have these 5 agreements?
We do. We know what we have for intercept agreements.
And if you were gone,
We keep them on file. Well, then if I'm gone, Patrick knows, or the chain of command knows.
okay, you're comfortable with it, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
The question was brought up, I wanted to share it.
Yeah.
So nothing's needed on that half, okay?
All right, changes to the billing procedure, item H.
Changes for billing procedure, I just went through, there's no necessary changes because the wording covers it both ways right now,
Okay.
okay?
Item I, EMS medical billing, letter and check. We got a check from EMS billing for $2,842 for a refund for commissions paid. Karen took that and deposited, correct, Karen?
I gave it to the treasurer for deposit. Yes, that's correct, sir.
Okay. So.
Any feedback from Waterford? Okay,
We turn this over, Karen, you sent Waterford
The check and the entire letter.
okay. So
And I
you
have-
haven't heard any response back from them yet?
What, is this their money?
No,
Oh,
Well, we didn't wanna send anything back the last time, so I don't completely understand what that was for,
not either.
cause I thought everything was
We couldn't make the
supposed to
numbers work.
be in there.
I thought this was previous.
Well, they give a list here of 16, 17, and 18.
I was just questioning, last time we saw it was a check, since we couldn't make the numbers come out, did Waterford have the same agreement we did?
this has nothing to do with that portion, Ed. This is just a check for errors in commission. It has nothing to do with what Waterford
It's a repayment
owes.
of the commissions because of, no?
No, it's just an error, like an error in commission.
They
Yes.
overbilled us?
Well,
We
That's,
overpaid the commission.
yeah, so they're refunding, has nothing to do with what you're doing with
They must have
Waterford.
checked through the,
Okay, all right. I thought it was a balance on what they owed when we mentioned the contract.
Well, if you look at the second page here, it shows what,
Yeah, voluntary commission refund. Well, the contract says if you screw up, we get your money back.
yeah.
That's what I thought it was.
We have made Waterford aware that they should probably check their agreement to make sure they probably have the same thing, and then they'll be getting their money back.
Just trying to be fair.
Yes, thoroughness.
all right. Item G, joint meeting with the village of Mavanago on December
Anything
19th.
else?
Why is it,
You're done, you're done.
this here is
Thank you,
the
Chief.
meeting for approval? We've got a joint meeting scheduled for December 19th. If all goes well.
December 19th?
If all goes well.
Yeah, this has got nothing to do with the public.
Well, this is a different
Hearing.
meeting.
This is the meeting to, if we're gonna approve or not, we wanted to set a date.
There's
We've
sta-
got-
sorry, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
There's statutory requirements that have to be fulfilled. That's the
Great.
earliest that the two communities could get together to finalize the border agreement to fulfill the statutory requirements of a border agreement. After the public hearing,
December?
comments, yes.
It takes that long to get it all rectified?
Yeah, because, Tom, didn't they indicate that even though the public hearing is ended, there's an additional 20 days, then there's 30 days
Yeah,
after
well-
that?
When I talked to Eric up at, he said boundary agreements after the public hearing, you do have to have a period of time for public input in regard to people having to make comments regarding the thing. Okay,
And just so you guys know.
December 19th, so mark our calendars for
Is
that
it
date.
a town board inclusive or just the signatures?
It's both boards.
Total
It's
board.
a Wednesday night.
As long as it gets done before the 1st of January. Because that's when the phase-in was supposed to start, December 31st.
I'm assuming there's no time schedule for that at this point?
That's what?
3:30, excuse me, 6:30,
6:30?
yes.
There it is. That's it.
Okay, change in land use payment from Waukesha County. Karen?
This is a pretty complicated issue. I put all the information in your packet. It started with a meeting at the county in regards to the tax payments. I sent that information to the assessor. We did get some information from the assessor. We also got a check. And it's my suggestion that the board meet with the assessor to understand how the process takes place when ag land turns into residential. Also, when residential property turns into ag land, it's not just a simple issue, and there's multiple statutes relating to multiple issues. So my goal with this is just to let you know that we did get a check from the county, but I really would suggest that the town board sit down with Cal to discuss this issue so you have a full understanding of this particular issue and other issues that relate to the assessment of ag land and agricultural land and what the statutes allow the county to do, what the town's allowed to do. it's a very, very complicated issue. So that would be my suggestion is we have a separate meeting with the assessor to understand this whole process, because it's a very important and significant process, but also has numerous statutes that you should also be aware of also. The check was deposited, just so that you know, but I really would, Cal would be much more adverse into explaining that. And then there's some issues he'd like to discuss in regards to the assessments also.
Usually that's an issue in my experience between the buyer and the seller. If the buyer's gonna change it from an ag use to a residential or something, they agree who's gonna pay the penalty. That fee, Karen, does that fee go to the county or the state then?
It's my understanding the county, but like I said, I really think we need to sit down with the assessor because there's, I'm not 100% sure the civil issue, but first and foremost, the government issue is what you need to understand, and then if there's a civil issue related to that. But I really would suggest that the town board have a separate meeting with the assessor to go through this whole issue.
Yeah, is this some kind of a change or something?
No, but
always
it's something that assessors need to watch. The county watches it. I mean, I give Candy just boatloads of credit. I mean, not only in this issue, but multiple issues. But like I said, I just wanted to let you know about the check. I wanted to let you know about the meeting.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you information from the assessor, but I just think it's so significant that you should have a separate meeting and go through this all with the assessor.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
So is that something that I could...
Because when I saw a check from Waukesha County regarding the change of use,
Right,
I knew there was always a penalty involved, but who's paying it to whom?
right.
Usually buyer and seller agree. Okay, I'm buying your farm, but I'm changing this to residential zoning next year. Okay, you pay or I pay or we split it. Where's the money go?
And you also, as a board, want to know what land you have now. You know, not that Vernon has tons of lots, but there's other issues you should be discussing with the assessor just so that you'll have a good grasp on this entire issue.
So hang on to this.
Yes.
Is this only since we've been in our own?
No.
So we never got a check like that before you were
No.
aware of?
No.
First time.
From the county. So just like I said, I'd like to arrange that for the board. And
Yeah. I'd like to
So we need to figure out what
is that okay?
understand it a little
Is that
better.
okay, Mr. Chairman?
Could we do it at a staff meeting so the attorney could be here?
That would be great.
Yeah, so good.
I
What's
think
the next staff meeting?
January. Yes.
Mhm.
January.
We
Okay.
can wait till then, probably.
I just wanted you to be aware, not that you have to take any formal action,
There's
but
no action, and then we'll do it at staff. Cal can make the staff meeting.
yep.
Item L, resolution for, excuse me, 2018 tender resolution to approve the Town of Vernon fee schedule. So before you is the fee schedule. Now, these are the new updated fees for the Park and Rec.
Park and Rec and professional chargeback fees. At the last budget hearing, you discussed what you'd like to do in regards to a few items in recreation. And then, since we were in the budget process, FOTH did give us new numbers for engineering, planning, surveying, civil engineering. So I put those also in effective January 1st, 2019. And I did check with John and Vince. I haven't heard back from Alex yet, but all those gentlemen say that their fees should remain as they are in 18. So the only one we're waiting for is fire.
Under zoning violations, no charge for the first inspection, I understand that, because there might not be a violation per se. But I would like to see the second inspection, now there's a violation, $100, and any additional inspections, $150 per inspection. So,
I thought we were picking it up already.
well, we talked about it, officially no.
I didn't,
So it would be 0 for the initial inspection, 100 for the first, and $150 for the second and each one thereafter.
I think it should be no charge for the first two. That way, you know you're in violation, comes back to make sure you corrected the problem, and if you didn't correct the problem, then you start paying for each inspection afterwards.
Well, I guess I would ask, you had that 30-day to correct it, didn't come to the board.
Well, didn't he come out the first time to get the notice, that he's got 30 days to correct it, that's the first inspection. And then he's gotta correct it, and Vince has to go back out to make sure he corrected it. I don't think you charge him to make, you gotta correct it. But if Vince has to go back a third time or a fourth, then we start charging.
I think it almost goes in line with what you just did for you.
So first and second inspection, no charge? And any additional re-inspections, $100? Is that what you're,
Instead of 65, that's what's in there.
You wanna go right to 150 after that, too?
Yeah, and in that memo we read before, that ordinance change, they do have 30 days, within that 30 days, to come to the board and appeal it.
Yeah.
So,
We're giving 60 days, actually, time.
so I have the first and second, so what's the third, 100 or 150?
I had 150.
I'd say 100.
You wanna vote on it?
Is it 65 now?
Yeah.
I can't see more than double it, but.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion to make the third inspection 100.
Is there a second?
Do we want to, or?
100, are you saying 100 for the second inspection?
For the third, and then do we want, and then do we want to increase it each subsequent, or each inspection after that? The price keeps going up.
Didn't we just put an
Definitely
ordinance
get
in
their
for violation, didn't that cover that?
Well, it didn't cover any costs. There were no fees.
Just time.
The timing. So it'd be 30
Wow.
days.
I'd say $100 for third inspection, each inspection after that an additional $50.
Additional 50 or an increase of 50?
Increase in 50.
Increase.
Or, yeah, increase in
And you're saying that there'd be nothing to do with the second
50. Yeah.
inspection?
So you get 2 for free?
Well, one, you find out you have a problem.
Yeah.
2, you have, so that you have it corrected. If you don't have it corrected, then you, when Vince has to come back and start paying. Then Vince can say, you got 30 days and I'm back.
Yeah.
Is that a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second, so hold on. Can Karen just read the motion back?
Motion was to have the third inspection be $100 and any additional inspection thereafter $50. Seconded by Supervisor Gary
$50
Welly.
increase. It'd be 150 for the
Third.
third.
$50 increase in each inspection.
So it'd be 150 for the fourth.
200 for the fifth. Goes up in increments of $50.
Okay.
By the fourth visit, they'll probably get the hint that
So for discussion,
Yeah.
my thoughts are, if somebody hasn't complied by the second, they're not anxious to come in compliance, you're not working with us, I have no problem charging them $150. We have people right now that we're dealing with that just keep ignoring what's going on. You know, people don't react until you make it, attach it to the wallet. I'm sorry, that's not a great way to look at it, but it's the truth. We see it. So, extra $50 and then keep going. I don't have a problem. I'd like to go with billing $150. Wake them up that we're serious. We need these things fixed.
Well, the thing is, the violations seem to be compounding themselves.
Yeah.
Different sorts of things. We spend time as a plan commission, as a board, discussing ordinances, drafting ordinances, to protect everyone's property value, and then someone's thumbing their nose at us, and, well, I'm just gonna do what I'm doing, and that's where I have to agree with Ed, you know, unless there's some dollars involved, or the motivation isn't there.
It doesn't agree with me.
Can you read the motion, Madam Clerk?
Want to vote?
Motion was made by Supervisor Jeff Millies to charge $100 on the third inspection with an additional $50 incremental increase above the previous charge. And it was seconded by Supervisor Gary Wildy. Sorry, Gary.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
So you abstained and Ed said no. Okay, got it. So your motion passed.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one other question, Mr. Chair, regarding our non-residents, PLS, basic life, and rescue for non-residents. If it's a resident, we add it to the tax bill, that's easy. What do we do with the non-residents, other than just keep going?
It goes to AmeriCollect, and after AmeriCollect, we send it to the state to try to collect.
Have we generally been successful in that? That's what I figured.
Because normally people can't pay it, so they don't have. The only way you get a reimbursement is if they get a refund. So most communities, that's something they write off. But the fire department, I haven't heard back from the fire department on the fee schedule.
He said sitting here, he has no changes.
Oh, to the fee schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Then
As I
you're
brought up,
then you're
this was
done.
attached at the bottom of that, the 5 agreements we have. And I was concerned that we would get picked up. He said, yeah, we're not changing.
That's not even on the fee schedule.
The ALS runs and stuff?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Item M, authorize town clerk to place the 2018 unpaid charges on property owners' tax bills. I'll make a motion.
You didn't vote on the
We need to
resolution.
vote on the resolution.
No, I thought that was the resolution.
No, it was a motion
That was
to
just to
change one
Well, then
portion.
let's vote on the resolution.
I'll make a motion to authorize, approve resolution number 2018-10.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, item M. Anybody make a motion for that?
To place the unpaid fees on their.
Oh, the agent.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Sorry, who seconded that?
Because
Ed?
Ed,
Ed, did you second that?
Seconded, I did.
I'm sorry.
you wanna go back to A now?
Yeah, Amy's
I'm
here.
gonna just finish these other 4 because they're gonna take some time here. Item M, updated job description for the town of Vernon clerk treasurer. You all get that?
Yeah.
Anybody got any problems with it?
Yeah, Karen, when you put that together, you use John's. I don't know, anybody get back to you and say that you use the word ski in a couple spots?
You're on the job description, you're not on the contract.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was, yeah. Okay. Skipping around.
Well, it could be a he.
I'm sorry?
It could be a he.
It has your name on it.
I'm sorry.
Karen, I just had a question. The bottom paragraph is headed town clerk, treasurer, administrative, but 3, what do you call them, marks above that. When money's deposited under paragraph A, the treasurer and the treasurer's sureties are not liable for any loss. Did you translate that?
What page are you on?
That's on the front page.
I took that from
The
the,
last bullet point from.
that's state statutes, so I can't, no, I can't translate state statute. You could talk to your son.
Oh,
It's right from the state statutes.
okay.
And that's what I figured you wanted to actually mirror what the state statutes say for a treasurer. And
Board
you,
wanna take more time to look at this?
Yeah,
I'll send him an email request for clarification.
it's pretty extensive.
The board wanna take more time to look at this? Consensus, Bill? Okay,
Yes.
Gary?
Yeah.
Well, that's three, votes us out too, so no action, bring it back next meeting. Contract for the town clerk, there was no action on the job description, do you guys wanna vote on the contract?
No,
Consensus?
I don't.
no, wait.
Bill?
We might change the job description on
Okay,
here.
no action on that one, bring it back.
I just had a question on the cell phone reimbursement of the contract. Do you need a cell phone for,
Do I use the cell phone?
no, need a cell phone for, or you?
I use my personal one. A lot.
You're not using the office phone all the time?
Oh, when I'm working,
I mean, on the contract.
no,
To
no.
get you your own personal cell phone,
No, I mean like, no,
like our DPW director.
no, he uses his personal one also.
Okay.
Approval of the winter newsletter. I read it, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
We haven't corrected the typos, so I put that real big bold.
The left column, left-hand page one, Carol, address West 233 South. Should that be South 7475 Woodland?
Yep. Yeah, like I said, we're still proofing. So anything you have, Bill, if you have it highlighted, please leave it with me. We'll get it.
Okay, then in the next column to the right, 2019
Yeah.
spring election update, third line down, should that be seats 1 and 4?
Yes.
Okay, instead of 3.
If I could jump back to page 1, you're stating a tax levy, or tax rate.
That I'm going to change based on what you guys do.
You had 214, I just wanted to make sure you caught that.
Here it was open.
She needed a lot of fillers. So then I have to windbag. But if you have any changes or issues, just highlight it, leave it with me after the meeting.
Okay.
You don't need that for that, right? You said you're gonna review that based
Yes,
on-
yes. But anything else, please give that to me and we'll make those changes.
So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the newsletter with any changes that Bill or whoever may provide to the clerk.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Budget workshop, next one will be Monday, the 22nd, 1 o'clock. Okay. So, let's go back up. Item A, Amy Burrow, Senior Planner, Waukesha County Park and Land Use. Amy?
Hello.
Good
Want to
evening.
come to the table?
Yes,
Yeah.
except for the microphone's dead. And it's not in the budget.
Do we have, is John's?
Yeah, Amy, do you mind using a
Do you
lavalier?
do you need the microphone? I'm pretty loud.
Well, it's not
It's
so
going-
much for us, it's for
it's
the
TV.
people that are
Sorry,
watching
dear.
on YouTube.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been a very long time since I've been here. I realized as I was driving. Okay, is it on here?
Yes.
Okay. So did you guys all get a copy of the memo that we sent a month or so ago? I did give Karen a call and asked if I could just come down and talk to you about why we started this process and developed this memo for your consideration. It was really precipitated out of from two different sources. One, the county is currently working with downtown Okauchee and the town of Oconomowoc with their downtown area, trying to encourage economic growth. They're really looking for some advancements in their downtown area. So, you know, our ordinance was developed many years ago, the first one in 1959, and then the Shoreland ordinance was enacted in 1970, and it was really intended for more rural environments. So we've got the 50-foot road setback and the larger 20-foot offsets, et cetera, which really don't work for a downtown area. So we're working with Okauchee to make changes in order to encourage that downtown feel versus the more rural feel. And as part of that, a couple of years ago, we interviewed or surveyed the downtown Okauchee business members, and one of their main needs and wants from us as part of their improving their downtown business environment was to expedite the application process. A lot of these business owners, and I know your township is maybe a little bit different in what kind of businesses you have, but in that area and in other areas such as Merton and Genesee Depot, you've got one restaurant owner switching over to another. So you're just going from one type of food establishment to something else, or one office to another, just switching out tenants, etc. And it takes a long time to get through the town plan commission, and then we used to also send it to our county plan commission, which we've stopped doing for several years. So our plan commission relies on staff to do reviews for business operations. So they have requested an expedited process, and since we're amending our code to work on their project right now, it's something that we want to seriously consider as part of those amendments. We also have a business owner specifically in the town of Lisbon, which is why we also included the Lisbon administrator as part of our team, who has expressed concerns now for a while, who happens to have a multi-tenant building, and I know you guys have a couple of multi-tenant buildings too, where it's the same kind of thing, very similar use, just switching tenants from time to time, and that process can take 4 to 6 weeks. His complaint is, you know, I can go and I can operate out of the village of Sussex, and it takes no time at all to get a permit, whereas in Lisbon it's taking quite a while. So that, you know, for any business owner, the startup costs are significant, and our goal is to get people up and running as quickly as possible. So what we did, and this only affects, by the way, the Shoreland area, so we're not attempting to amend the town's process, just the areas that are already in our Shoreland jurisdiction where the county has zoning authority. And, you know, although I know some of the town members, planners that were on our committee are actually introducing it at the town level as well to make it as consistent and streamlined as possible. So you guys consider that on your own. But about a year ago or last fall, I participated in lean training, which I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a formal process that a lot of private folks use in order to expedite their business operations, in order to save as much time and money as possible. And one of the techniques that I learned in that training was value stream mapping. So we thought this was actually a perfect opportunity to use that. And we invited several town planners. I believe they're noted in this memo. Your planner, Sean Malarkey, was included in those meetings. And we did this value stream map process where we started out by just identifying the existing county process from time of application to permit issuance, and then each of the towns that we worked with. And it was I think it was interesting for all of the planners to just see how everybody does things a little bit differently or the same. And then after we did that, we came back at a second meeting and we looked at where can we find areas of improvement. You know, without thinking about it before identifying that existing process. And some things that just really stand out in doing that is that the town and county both have duplicative processes in several areas. So an applicant has to come in, they submit an application at the town level, and they also submit an application at the county level. So if you think of being the business owner, they're filling out this almost identical information twice, covering several pages of material. Then the county staff is doing a full review of that application, and then the town staff is also doing a full review. Again, very similar reports. And then at the town level, it's coming to potentially a staff meeting, and then the plan commission being filtered out to town members, maybe your public works, etc. And then that recommendation comes to the county, and we kind of blend the town's conditions and the county's conditions, and we send out that final review. And some issues we have with that is that once people get the town approval, they think they're done, even if it says you must obtain county permits. In their mind, that's a town permit. They already have their conditions of approval. So because of those duplicative efforts, we thought that one way to make an improvement is to have a single application to shoreline jurisdiction. Some towns already do that. They just use the county form. I believe Oconomowoc and Merton, I know, do that. And then the person only has to fill out the materials once. And what we're proposing is the county staff, we have the professional staff available. We also have several other divisions, the restaurant folks, the environmental health, the stormwater folks, county public works. We would do a full review, and then we would send it to the town planner. If it's a significant enough review, they would put it on the plan commission agenda. But as part of that, they would send it to their public works or whoever within your township needs to see the application for any additional comments. If we missed anything, that gets sent to us, and we incorporate those additional comments into our review. But all the formal correspondence would be had between the county and the applicant to avoid confusion and duplication. And then what we did, as to further look at it, is when items go to the plan commission, there's a significant time element associated with that. Not that there's sometimes that's absolutely necessary, but there's a lot of applications that come through for plan of operation that are extremely minor in nature. And again, it's that switch in tenant space when it's the same type of use. Or interior remodeling, changing of some interior walls, modification of landscaping, maybe days and hours of operation. A lot of folks might want to just change the face of the sign. Those types of things we're proposing, and we spent some time with all the planners that were in our committee, and we would just like the town planner and county planning staff to complete those reviews. If there's any dispute, or if the town planner is not comfortable making a decision based on their professional judgment, then they have the authority to take it to the plan commission, and the applicants are aware of that at the time they apply. We are proposing that those reviews be submitted directly to the county, so we would take in the fee, and the only reason why we're proposing to take in a nominal fee and then reimburse the town is so that that applicant doesn't have to go to two separate offices to apply. So we were just hoping that on these very minor applications, and we can discuss, what is minor, although we did draft what we think is minor, just come through the county with the fee, we reimburse the town. And then there's many uses here, and I won't go through all of them unless you want me to, that would still come through the plan commission. So any modifications or additions to accessory structures, lighting, dumpsters, parking where there's additional areas or modification of parking, any changes in food service, alcohol service, new temporary uses, modifications to property boundaries, for sure any additions to principal buildings, any changes to the use of the same building. So if you're going from retail to a restaurant, that's a different type of use. That would still come to the plan commission. And then miscellaneous modifications such as the special events, music, outdoor storage use. Those are obviously local issues that you may want to consider carefully. So quite a bit of what we do will continue to go to the plan commission. We're just trying to streamline the insignificant proposals that folks can get up and running as quickly as possible. We do feel that the town and county professional staff can handle those applications sufficiently. Trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to point out specifically. And then, this is not necessarily set in stone. What we're proposing to do with code amendments is right now our code, the shoreline ordinance says that a plan of operation requires town plan commission approval. we would probably make a very minor adjustment that says either or designee, or staff as deemed appropriate, town staff as deemed appropriate, so that if this doesn't work out the way we think it should, and the town or county staff has complaints about it, then we can make tweaks to it. We prefer to be consistent across all the townships. Right now, it appears that we have quite a bit of support. And if we have to do it different in one town than another, we will, and having that code amendment be vague would allow us to do that. So we're certainly willing to continue to make adjustments, and we don't claim to have it all figured out quite yet either, but we do feel that it's very valuable to work toward expediting this process, because it is quite a time commitment on behalf of the applicants.
Bill?
Any questions?
Appreciate your coming, Amy, first of all.
No.
I'm still confused as to the role the town plays in shoreline zoning. Does the applicant apply directly to the county rather than to the town?
So right now, or with this process?
Well, right now for starters.
Sure, okay. So right now, the county shoreline ordinance is the applicable enforceable ordinance. But within the county's ordinance, it says that plan of operations require town plan commission approval. So the county does not do their complete review and send out a letter of approval or denial, whatever it is, with conditions until we receive the town's action. And then we almost always incorporate whatever the town requires, and sometimes we have to tweak things to include county issues. So that's the process right now. It is a county ordinance, county enforcement, which is why, another reason that we want to continue to be the lead on that, because we are the ones that are ultimately responsible for enforcing the violations that would come up. But it does call out town plan commission approval. So that's what we're proposing to amend when an application is insignificant.
But as it stands now, if I understand it, the town plan commission still determines yes or no on the plan of operation.
If it's in the shoreline area, our ordinance requires your review, and so folks do come to in Vernon. This isn't the same process throughout all the townships, but in Vernon they come in and they apply separately. They see the town planner, they fill out an application, they pay a fee, and they go through your entire process. They may come in at the same time to apply at the county, but we hold on to that application. We'll do a review, so if we find anything significant, a significant issue, we'll call Sean or the applicant. But otherwise, we hold on to the review until we have your action and incorporate your action into our review. So that's how it works right now.
So if the plan commission or the town has objections, how heavily does that weigh in the county decision? Because you make the final decision.
Yes, and as we do now, generally, I mean, I've been at the county for 16 years. We really don't run into an issue. I think we've had maybe a CU or two or a rezone over my career where we send it back to the town for reconsideration based on our concerns. So if it's uncalled for and it's not enforceable, you ask for something, a new road, a new public road when somebody switches restaurants, and that's not practical, we're not going to accept that. But we've just never had, we don't have that issue.
So what would the major change be then, streamlining this?
As part of this?
Yeah.
So instead of right now, the applicant coming to the town and filling out a separate application and then coming to the county and filling out a separate application, we would blend our applications into one county application. We do a full review. We draft a staff report with conditions. We send that to your planner. And then if it's one of these simple modifications, he's just doing a quick check to see if we missed anything that the town might be concerned with that we're not. And then he sends it back to us and we finish our review. So really your review is a little bit more on the back, a silent partner, with the applicant, as far as the applicant's concerned. So they don't have to work with two different municipalities. But if it's a significant review, same thing, they come to the county, they make their application, we write a staff report, But then we send it to your planner to put on the agenda for a plan commission consideration, and then you incorporate you add any conditions that you feel are necessary.
So basically, if a property is combined shoreline, non-shoreline,
Yes.
and the operation or plan of operation involves both areas, is the town, do they have total control over the non-shoreline area?
Yeah, so what I think your ordinance probably has, because I know Attorney Macy's your attorney, and I know in Genesee and I believe in Waukesha, he has a provision in the code that says if it's mixed jurisdiction, that you can look at the property as a whole. Our ordinance says the same thing. I mean, we may only regulate the area in the shoreline, but we're going to look at the property as a whole when we do our review. So in those, we acknowledge that in our memo. That gets a little bit complicated because technically they do need to apply at the town and the county separately. So you have to make a decision. Like Merton, for instance, they would just probably use our, because we've been having joint jurisdiction with townships for, since we started zoning. And in Merton, for example, they just use our application, but they do their own separate review fee. That, in that case, you would take in your own fee. You would decide if you want to continue sending everything that's outside of the shoreline area to the Plan Commission, then you would just continue doing that. And in those cases, we're going to do our review considering the shoreline area, but we would treat them the same. We would wait for your action and then take action. So where there is joint jurisdiction, it'll continue to probably vary from town to town depending on how you do business. So you would decide whether or not you want to have your own application and people apply 2 ways, or if you use ours and call it your application in those moments. That's up to you. We were even talking about we could change the heading of the application to say Waukesha County and town application too. So you can choose to use it as appropriate.
Follow up to those questions, was that part of the reason for the extension of the shoreline from whatever, 100 to 1,000 feet or whatever it was?
Yeah.
There's no...
Just to get them into one jurisdiction or the other?
There was no change in the shoreline's been the same since 1970. It's 1,000 feet from a lake, 300 feet from a river, the floodplain, whichever extends further. The only thing that changes is over time, there are many waterways that have just never been deemed navigable, and they come in as looked at.
Navigable.
So it's a site by site. There's a lot of, especially in southern half of Waukesha, the agricultural ditches. As soon as they convert in use, they can not always become navigable. Ponds too, if they're connected, sometimes illegally, sometimes legally, they can become navigable. It's always been the same, 1,000 feet from the lake, 300 feet from the river.
I'm sorry, I thought that changed.
No.
I heard that it changed.
Amy,
Maybe it was ours.
I've got a question on enforceability.
Yes.
I don't take this personal, because it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons we wanted to administer our own zoning code so we could enforce the violations.
Sure.
How do we, number one question, who's going to enforce the violations?
On shoreline.
And if we see something we don't like, who do we gotta go to? We don't have any recourse.
Sure. Nothing changes with enforcement. So right now, it's our shoreline area. It's our shoreline area, so it's our code that has to enforce that area, and therefore are obligated to enforce the violation. So that really doesn't change. If it's mixed jurisdiction and it's in your area, then you enforce the violation. So wherever the line falls, if it's in your area, you do. If it's in ours, we do. If you notice a violation, then you would bring that to our attention. So that actually is no different than it has been.
So when, like, these minor changes you were mentioning, you change a tenant or something, could these, if they went all through you, does the town still get notified of the changes?
Yeah, so all of the changes, so any plan of operation, same as we do now, is always at a minimum going to go through your town planner.
Okay.
It's just that we feel that some of these changes are insignificant enough that there's no reason why your professional staff can do the review, instead of having to bring it to a committee meeting. So everything will continue to go to the town planner. If they have any question or concern, they can bring it to the plan commission. What I know some of the town planners are interested in doing is having a standing agenda item, so that at every meeting they can provide updates of anything that they've reviewed, and let you know. And then if you come up with a concern and feel like the planner's not addressing it appropriately, then that can be addressed as you go forward. One thing to keep in mind, I think is important to keep in mind, since the town of Vernon has gotten out of county zoning, this year in 2018 we've had one plan of operation in the town, and last year we had 0. So this is not high volume thing at all in Vernon. That's not the case.
We don't have a lot of water in the shoreline.
You don't have a lot of shoreline, and you don't have
Right.
a lot of, you certainly don't have a lot of businesses within the shoreline jurisdiction. So this is not going to have
Big dramatic
Major
effect
impact.
on
a
us.
major impact on the town.
I have a question, if I may.
Mhm.
You talked about going through the lean process and all that.
Yes.
Do you have these different documentation requirements set into a timeline with some milestones attached to them, so we could share with the public what the process or requirements
Will.
are and the duration?
Yes.
Our problem seems to be more the duration of time it takes to get things done.
The review
So
time.
we try to compress it, yeah.
Yes. We will have, right now, we're just trying to get support so that we can move forward.
Okay.
But we do have, what I can do is send Karen our value stream maps that show what the current duration is,
Right.
and then what we would expect for the duration of some of these projects. It's going to be variable depending on whether or not if it continues to go to the plan commission. The duration probably won't change, because quite frankly, the length of time, where we have the significant length of time in review is the time between having to submit to get on an agenda to having a meeting. That's really where there's a time lag in this process. But we can show on a value stream map what we expect. Right now, but we're still in the infancy of
Setting up
the process.
Yeah.
But we will have a
the timeline
procedure,
of it or
a
something.
timeline, a flow chart, all that good
Okay.
stuff. And actually, I had all the planners send me their current applications
Yeah.
to see if, so that we can make it as consistent.
We
as
did that
possible.
recently with our plan, just to find out where the hangups might be. Everybody's on the same page now as far as what the process is, what the steps are, and hopefully how long it takes.
Mhm.
And that'll get measured over time, and we'll get some feedback, I'm sure. So you're heading in the same direction we went through on this.
Okay, any other questions for Amy?
Amy, if they need an addition, I know your deadline is the 31st,
Sure.
and if they need, their next board meeting is November 1st,
Okay.
is it possible that a couple days delay?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to check.
Yes, absolutely. And if you have any other questions, give me a call, me, or Karen or Sean can call. I mean, Sean is very familiar with what we've been up to. To be honest, it was a really, we would like to do more projects and involve the town planners like this, because it was very interesting for all of them. We have a huge whiteboard, and all the towns, different planners got to see what each other does differently. And just knowing that is very helpful in whether or not they're doing good stuff, could make improvements, what have you. So I think they all enjoy being able to see how each other does business.
Any other questions for Amy?
Thanks, Amy.
Okay, thank you. Have a good
Thank you
night.
for coming down.
Yeah.
Item B, request to extend the Harvest View Developers Agreement.
Thank you. Amy, can you just leave that on the table? Because here comes James on the table.
Want me to give it to him?
Yeah.
It's your turn.
Thank you.
Sorry, James.
All right. Before you here, we have the previous agreement that expires on November 1st, 2018. So, what are you looking for? Do you want to just, for the people out there that don't know who we are?
Sure.
Jim?
Jim Doring with Town Realty. and Town Corporate Park of Big Bend LLC, who's the owning entity of this property. We're asking for another 2-year extension of our development agreement with the Town of Vernon. We're seeking the exact same time extension with the Village of Big Bend for our 21-lot Harvest Use subdivision. The final plat has been recorded. Development agreement has been in place with the Town of Vernon for a number of years, also with the Village of Big Bend for a number of years. Unfortunately, the market has not changed to a point to give us the kind of financial stability to move forward with this project.
What actual part of this development is in the town?
Just the connection to Oakview Road, there's that temporary cul-de-sac at the north end of that street, and that's a road connection into this development. And we have the development agreement with the town because we would have to rebuild that temporary cul-de-sac to make it a through street. And unfortunately, that temporary cul-de-sac was not fully built in your right-of-way. So we had to, a number of years ago, gather construction easements to work with the neighbors outside of your right-of-way. But ultimately, the road, when it would make the connection, would be within your right-of-way. There's also a letter of credit that has been in place since we signed the development agreement with you. That number has changed over time as costs have changed. We're fully understanding that the town engineer will be looking at that cost, and it may be variable again.
Do you have any concept of when you're going to do this?
Unfortunately,
it's been
a number of years. I think we
it's
recorded
been-
the plat in 2006, and then we hit the downturn.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, southeastern Wisconsin, for the most part, has not come back to a robust new construction market. And we've been monitoring the well and septic developments for a number of years following that downturn, and it has not seen that turnaround. In the town of Vernon and the Village of Big Bend, besides the Lake Park development that Matt Newman did along Edgewood, there really hasn't been any sense of any volume of new building permits, which has been very unfortunate, but we've noticed that in other parts of Waukesha County and other parts of southeastern Wisconsin. During the height of the market, we were pulling about 3,000 permits in our market over a 5-county area. Today, that same 5-county, we're only pulling about 1,400. So what is that new norm? We have yet to figure it out, find it. And unfortunately, segments of the market are even slower than the perceived single-family new construction. Condominiums are slow in coming back. Well and septic areas are slow in coming back. For the most part, the developments that you see in sewer and water areas have been a little bit more stable and some growth. There's been some pockets of heavy supply right now. I'll use the Menominee Falls, Sussex, Town of Lisbon, that general area. There's a big flood of supply out there. Oconomowoc, with what Matt Newman's doing with the section of Pass Farm, there's now a big portion of supply. Not every part of the county has been experiencing that, but at the same time, there's a reason you aren't seeing new developments come in front of you. For town developments, you aren't even seeing in the town of Waukesha in the south half, you really aren't seeing much for well and septic. That segment of the market just has not come back for what we believe even to a normal level. So again, the financial feasibility for us just isn't there at this time.
Okay, a letter from our engineer or planner, I'm not sure which, from October 2016, which is the last time I think we made the request.
Right.
Recommending an increase of that letter of credit to 61.5, and as you mentioned before, it's going to be higher than that at this stage. So you're from what you said, not opposed to bumping it to where the market's going?
No, we're more than happy to work with the town's engineer to determine what's a reasonable level for the reconstruction of that bulb to the street requirements of the town of Vernon for our future connection.
And again, it stays constant, 2-year extension, yeah.
Yep. We again are making the exact same request to the Village of Big Bend. We're on their,
Like it was identical, just some numbers.
yeah, we're on their planning commission next week, and then their village board meeting same night as your town board meeting. So.
So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the request, to extend a letter of credit for 2 years, and the amount to be determined prior to acceptance.
By
Second.
town engineer.
Town engineer, he's gonna provide the cost, so yes.
Do
As well.
we need?
As well as the development agreement extension timeline? I mean, the letter of credit, this is for the extension of the development agreement, not
Right.
just the letter of credit. The previous version agenda, it just.
Yeah,
had
it's
the
really
letter
the
of credit.
developer's agreement. And
Well,
tip,
it's about, I'm sorry, let me
And-
restate this, request for modification to Harvest View subdivision development agreement approval.
so you're approving it.
Huh?
Okay,
You want to approve it without seeing the increase?
No, I wanna see the
Well, you
But
just
then
said
you-
you're approving
engineer.
it.
just restate your motion to send it to the town engineer for its review, and if you want legal review, you've had tremendous legal review over the years,
Yeah.
but
I know,
Every 2 years.
not
Yeah,
gonna request
we've,
legal
we've
review.
typically seen Attorney Macy provide a one-page amendment to
Right.
reflect that.
Right.
extension.
I'm not gonna request.
We're expecting the same thing.
I'll save everybody a couple bucks, no, I'm not gonna request it.
But you want
The engineer
to review,
give us price.
and to place this
for the
item on the next
updated-
town board agenda,
Right.
or final, okay.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And Bill, did you second that motion? Okay, thank you.
I just got a couple of questions. How many lots were in there originally?
21.
And how many are sold? Or how many are left?
All 21. We have not made any improvements.
You sold all the lots already?
No, I said we have not made any
Oh,
improvements.
okay.
All
Oh, all
21
right.
are still there.
I thought I misunderstood you, I was wondering.
I just was
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, when you drive that area, we are coming off of the Badger Meadow subdivision that Ron Badager did, where his road
Yeah.
ends is where our property starts.
Yeah.
And he has not even sold out of his development yet, and he put it in before he down.
Well, the taxes are too high at Big Bend.
He's not gonna comment on it.
I know you have a discussion regarding the egg use. Harold Tobacco is still farming the property.
Well, Mr. Banniger requested to come back into the town of Vernon out of Big Bend.
I was not aware of
But
that.
he can't get the approval from Big Bend to do it, so,
Okay.
you know.
So, thank you.
Okay, good work.
Was it Zing?
Thanks, James.
Yep.
All right, so our next meeting will be, Jim,
November 1st.
November 1st,
Yes.
so.
Great. Thank
Just
you.
to let you know.
Yep.
Okay. Item C, streetlights in the entrance of Rolling Meadows subdivision in the town right of way. We received a request.
Letter.
For streetlights. There'll be two, one on each side. So, gentlemen, any questions? Is there, oh, hello, and you are,
Sarah Pitzel, I'm secretary for the homeowners association.
Sarah, is that on? You don't have to put it on. I mean, is a little light on? Is a little red light on? Oh,
all right. Gentlemen, any questions?
is that on? Okay.
I have a question. Why'd they come back with it still in the right of way when we gave them an engineering suggestion to move it out of the right of way and make life easier for everybody?
That's a question for
Is that
Sarah.
directed to me, for me?
Yeah.
Answer?
Okay.
Okay, sure. So when we were here last, we had talked about what our options were and reviewed the ordinance with you, made the request for you to reconsider the motion to allow us to keep the lights in the right-of-way, which you guys did not accept at that time. And so when we were here, we spoke and I asked if we could resubmit the application again with them in the right-of-way, following the proper procedures, and you guys told us that yes, you would consider that. So that's why we did it.
See, the problem we have, Sarah, with those two lights, the first thing is the one to the east, the farthest one to the east, that goes back in the same place. It's right in the middle of the view of the stop sign.
Okay.
So, and our DPW director, if we're clearing that intersection, and not the first time through, because they don't use the swing plow a lot on that first time, but that second time through, they're gonna have to move around or could even hit those lights. That's why we requested to have them move back. Now, the right of way isn't that far.
Mhm.
And the engineer, in the letter that we said should, you know, it's only a matter of a few feet.
I believe it's 10 to one side and 12 to the other.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
And that's, to me, if you put them as close to your land, out of our right of way, if we hit them, then that's our fault.
Yeah, and from what we were going off of is based off of the lighting information that we were given from We Energies, that moving them the 10 and the 12 feet not only is not customary for where they place light poles to light the purpose of the entrance of the subdivision, but it also would reduce the effectiveness of covering that area for the kids that are waiting there for the bus in the morning. So that's the reason that we came back for the same location.
I believe our engineer debated that
Mhm.
in his letter
Mhm.
and stated that it will not make any difference, so.
Can I ask, I have Ray here from the Energies. Ray,
Sure.
would you mind commenting on that? Sorry, he's sick, so thank you for coming anyway.
Yeah.
When we,
Sorry.
Sorry.
that's okay, I was disinfected, so there's nobody else to use it. I sent both photometrics to the engineer. I've been in the lighting industry for almost 30 years now, and moving them, you know, another 20 plus feet apart will reduce the light levels in that intersection by as much as 30%. Because these are on 15-foot poles. If these were, you know, much taller, you know, you could put a longer arm on, but they're post-top fixtures, and the distribution when they're at 15 feet is substantially different than, you know, say a wood pole, with, you know, that. It's quite customary for us to be 4 feet back of curb, and that's what we submitted to on this plan and to, you know, on the original plans with the photometrics.
But they weren't, the one to the east wasn't 4 feet from the curb. From the back of the curb, 4 feet?
I did not go out there after it was installed.
I did.
We did.
It wasn't.
We will, you know, we can get them 4 feet back of curb, it's not a problem. The drawing, the original drawing, which I don't believe we have with us, they should have been 4 feet back of curb.
I thought there was a,
I thought there was a sketch, right?
yeah, I thought there was two.
We had the original meeting.
Do you guys have a copy of this letter from our engineer from July?
Yes.
Stating the reasons that, in regard to the permit and some of the reasons that he has for moving the poles?
Mhm.
Okay.
We do.
See, now, that's the information, we're basing our decisions based on what our engineers tell us, you know. And considering that it's in our right of way, we have to almost go according to what, just to our engineer.
We pick up some liability.
Or our liability is out there.
I submitted a response to Folk Engineering,
Yeah.
and I got no response from Folk Engineering on the original one, where he asked for cut sheets on the fixtures, cut sheets on the poles, cut sheets on the underground distribution. I sent all that information in.
Ray, can you send me a copy of that?
It should be in an email that came to you. There's multiple PDFs that were attached when we were here back in July, June, I can't remember when we shared mine.
July.
July,
But Ray, your letter was after Andy's letter.
yes.
Okay.
I can, when I get back in the office.
No, I'll
if
double check I can't check my emails from here, but
When I get back in the office, I can send it back, or I can even check. If I don't go in tomorrow, I will send it from home.
I'll check first. Let me,
I don't have the drawing. It's not part of the package here.
This is the original drawing.
That's the one I'm looking for.
Is that the one you're looking for?
let me make
That
copies.
is,
Yeah.
Macy had that same comment in his previous comments about the president.
May I just ask a question to you guys as well? If the 4 foot is a plow concern, is there some way that we can move those back just a few more feet? Not all the way out to the 10 or the 12 feet, the 22-foot separation, but back, let's just say 2-3 feet further off the curb. That would bring that out of the stop sign and then also still provide lighting.
Thank you. How did you read her, what Macy talked about?
Item C, streetlights request for entrance to Rolling Meadows. This is from, Mr. Macy, the town attorney. Said this is a policy decision, please make sure that the relevant ordinances are followed. And I recommend that the town board establish a policy setting forth what consideration need to be made when addressing such requests. I would recommend that all such instances that if the town board is waiting to approve such requests, that a written agreement be entered into with either We Energies or the individual homeowners in the subdivision, which legally absolve the town from any payment or liability from the street lamp. The letter submitted in the packet is not such an agreement. Additionally, you may want DPW and engineering review and comments.
That last sentence is what, the main part I wanted, we just asked the question, where to move it. I think we'd have to go back to John and find out what his thoughts are, how far back they gotta be for plow and the rest of that, if they're gonna be there at all.
You know, one of the suggestions from your, to the engineer that reviewed that and gave it was to put the lights in the median instead, which is still in your right of way, and that suggestion comes directly from him. So I wonder out loud, is this truly a right of way issue, or is this because how could that be a solution from the town engineer, but the right of way on the outside of the subdivision streets not?
Because we don't have a swing plow on the driver's side of the truck, we have it on the passenger side.
Okay, so it's plow related then?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's an easy one to answer.
Okay, good, that's good.
But it's also policy related. I think
Sure.
we mentioned that before.
Sure.
And why the attorney's suggestion that if we're gonna do this, we've gotta write something into our ordinances that allows it, because right now, there's nothing stating you can come onto our right of way and throw a bunch of poles through.
Well, correct, yeah, you have to follow the steps, which we talked about last time.
Right.
We thought we were doing, and we were not, so.
So by exception, we would have to create an ordinance that allows us to happen from here on out. This could create a lot more engineering work and a lot more DPW work, and I'm not nuts about the idea, to be honest with you.
No.
I see that a little differently, but
Can you increase the wattage of the lights?
No.
Why?
Because that particular fixture that's, the homeowners association has installed has a maximum wattage of 99 watts.
But that's not the real question.
Can you increase
Can you increase
the wattage if you move it back to make them brighter?
There's no other light available with better rooms than what you're offering?
That fixture, for a post-top fixture, is about the highest lumen output that's available, yes.
That's what he's asking.
So you can't increase the wattage.
This isn't, these are LED fixtures, Chairman Hurd. So it's not like you take a different high-pressure sodium ball
And increase the
and
wattage.
increase it. And even in those cases, most of these fixtures were designed at a maximum of 150 watts high-pressure sodium or 175 watt metal halide. These are more directional where the lights are. These are LEDs to be energy efficient. It's where the industry's going. Actually, the fixture that they selected, the old version of it, is no longer available even in high-pressure sodium. Everybody's moving away from it.
What do you want to do, Jeff?
I don't know, I'd like to get our DPW director's input to see where they have to be, so he's not hitting it with the plow truck with the wings out. And also that one to the east, where it was blocking the view of the stop sign. And I'm not sure where it has to go
To be out of that line.
to out of that line of sight. So those are my two.
Gary?
I agree with Jeff. I'm definitely opposed to having them in the right of way. You know that.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I asked you to read the legal. I'm very concerned to let John take a look at this and just make sure that he's comfortable if we're gonna do something. My initial statement was I'm not in favor of it, so I'm gonna leave it at that until we hear from him and see if he's changing his mind.
Bill?
Well, my feeling is, I mentioned at the last round, I would like to see the lights out of the right of way. And someone here read the letter from our engineer stating that there would not be significant loss in light quality. You're saying it's a 33% drop off. We're hiring professionals, engineers, attorney, to keep us out of legal hassles, and if we're just gonna not regard what they're saying, then why are we paying? So, I would like to see it out of the right of way, and I don't know, even
Well, before we even go forward, you heard and nothing, before we go forward, you heard the comment from the lawyer that if we were to consider this at all, two things have to happen. We have to write an ordinance to make it allowable across the board, and we can't do for you what we won't do for somebody else. Second is, we need something from you in writing, or you in writing, absolving us of the liabilities of those lights.
I disagree with that. It's not gonna come from them, it's gonna come from us, and they're gonna sign it.
Are you agreeable to that?
Well, obviously, I can't agree until we see it, right?
But that's the way that works.
Yeah,
process.
we've had no issue with signing off on that. Our subdivision knew when we started this project that we were gonna be fully responsible for the financials of the light. That's not a surprise.
I don't think that's an issue.
No, I think that the one concern that we have as a subdivision is that there are other subdivisions that have lights in the town of.
But they were part of the plan development. When the subdivisions were put in, those were included with the plans of that subdivision. No,
It wasn't a part of that. All I can talk to is the here and the now and what we're trying to do is subdivision.
Well, that's why you're an exception, he's trying to explain that. Yeah, you see him, you've asked a question, we told you, it's because it was done differently. It was done by the process.
But it's my understanding that the Hidden Lakes lights were actually not done during the planning process, and I'd have to go back and double check that. But you guys voted to include those.
That is correct. That was not that subdivision went in the 70s.
That was put up because someone was killed there.
I understand that. I understand that, but that still is.
You want that down here?
Which the lights at Hidden Lakes, just next to.
So it takes somebody to get killed in order to have this happen? Is that what you're saying?
That's not the issue. The issue is in the right of way.
Sure.
And you want it in the right of way, and the consensus with the board is they don't want it in the right of way.
Sure.
That's the issue. Not if somebody's gonna get killed.
No.
Well, I think too so the question that I ask is how come one is allowed and one is not? you said it was because of the planning,
I
which
think
isn't.
this should go to the attorney, this should go to the engineer, and this should go to John. And see what we get back from him. I'm not gonna make a decision on this.
We just keep betting on it.
They're gonna pay for it. They've got,
What are we?
you've got a reimbursement
For what?
for the fees.
So the review.
No,
No, that is, no.
There's
No one has
never-
talked to us about that at all.
Okay.
We didn't ask that other town
It's gonna
engineering.
be on our dime.
No, we did.
Yeah, right. And if you guys would have come to us and asked for that as part of the process, I think you would have had a very agreeable, because we have been 100% agreeable since the point that we found out that this
Everything
happened.
but you wanna put it in the right of way, and we don't want it in the right of way.
Well, but this is the
That's not
meeting.
agreeable.
This is the meeting to have that discussion. I thought
That's
that we
what
were
we're
all.
having the discussion on, and everybody gave a consensus that they don't want it in the right of way.
It creates a lot of change necessary and documentation beyond what we've got here already. And we've done quite a bit already.
I'm sorry, I might be obtuse, but I still don't understand how that is different than the application process that you guys already have in place for the lights. How is this a different
We're
process?
asking in the right of way.
Right, and you guys have a permitting process and a path to go through in order to get them put in the right of way, which we're going through right now and doing. So I'm unclear as to why that's a different precedent than what you're talking about.
I know.
I don't think it's funny. I really don't.
I'm not laughing.
Good,
Trust me.
okay, good.
Spend no time on this, I'm not.
I think we're all on the same page with that.
Is that 30+% drop off gonna create actual safety hazard? Can you state that directly?
Nobody can state what the exact light level is that's required. I can tell you that it will drop off by approximately 30%.
30% from what?
By moving them.
But 30% from what? What are you gauging the 30% from?
From the current levels that are what they were. This one doesn't state what the average is. You'd have to look at what the average is, but, you know, in front of the fixture on the roadway, we would be at 0.6-foot candles. By moving it back, you would probably, you know, right in front of the fixture, you could move it, let's say, in 10-foot increments, and one side we would be moving it 10 feet. You could go from 0.6-foot candles to 0.3-foot candles.
So do you feel what we're proposing, putting in the right of the drop off?
That's 50%. 0.6 to 0.3.
For 10 feet.
Yeah.
Because you have to add both of them together.
Is it creating a safety hazard, is my direct question. With the drop off and,
Sunlight is better than no light. It'd be much better to have them, you know, sunlight out there rather than no light than the current situation. You know, there, when you go to ASHTO or the Illuminating Society of Engineering, they don't tell you specifically what the exact light level is for safety. They suggest a range or a minimum, and a ratio of minimum to average to minimum, max to min, and a glare ratio. But they will not give you an exact number of what the safety number is. They'll give you a range, sure. And that would be from ASHTO.
yeah, no one wants to stick their neck out to their point.
You know, and then a lot of it, you know, light levels are rated based on road classification. We've got two different road classifications there. And one of the biggest issues is always pedestrian conflict. Cars have headlights, but the main thing is you want to have conflicts show up. So the higher the pedestrian conflict, like in the downtown area, the more illumination you want so that I can visibly see you in a crosswalk, so that I don't hit you. I can see another car coming at night as long as it has its headlights on. So pedestrian conflict is a big thing with the IES. I haven't been out to the subdivision. I don't know how many kids get on the bus, but that was the
Anywhere
main
from 3 to
concern.
10 that are waiting out there in the morning.
The rating is as much arduous as this is on this. So there is, I can't give you, is it 0.3, is it 0.6, is it 0.5? You won't get that from anybody. You could go to the IES and they'll give you a range. So
Which is
I
why,
get a real clarification from the engineer in this case. Because our engineer said it's fine, he's saying it's no good. We're paying our engineer, so I think if he says it's fine, I'm gonna buy it. If this gentleman can convince me it's not sufficient for safety, I'll buy that. But I want that answer. He's saying he didn't answer when he sent the emails. Pick up a phone and call him.
He can't.
I want an answer.
You did?
He can't.
I
He can't.
can't. I was
The town engineer won't.
Won't talk to him because he didn't have authorization.
Right.
From the board.
That's the way it. That's the way it works.
That's the way it's written, yeah.
How do I give him permission?
The board
No,
would.
the board would have to.
And again, we aren't opposed to moving them back out of the right of way, or out of the plow issue, because that,
And we don't know what that is.
but that's what we don't, I don't know that answer either. So if we can find a happy medium in here where we still provide enough light for the kids, but it's not 22 feet back further, I think our subdivision would be very happy.
And that's a statement I'm hung up on, because our engineer said, you got enough light for the kids, your gentleman said you don't.
And we're,
I don't know how
Yeah.
to come to an agreement on something I don't have.
I wish I was a better expert in lighting, but that's not my cup of tea.
I'm not sure if he ran the photometrics at all, or went to an outside company and ran the photometrics.
That's what I'm saying, I have no idea where we're at with
Because I
that
wasn't allowed
question.
to talk to. All these simulations, the light levels that we run, are run through, a computer simulation software where the calculations are done by a professional lab, so that we're giving you, so that we're projecting numbers. It's not, you don't take an ISO line and say, move them around.
So those were I assume you emailed something to them, what did you not get an answer on? I have a hearing.
Okay.
But I thought I heard you when you said you tried to contact our engineer, but couldn't get an answer.
When both sent a response back to the original application, which came after the fact, he asked
Yeah,
for
we're
some,
past that.
he asked for some clarification. He asked for spec sheet on the pole, spec sheet on the fixture, how we were installing the underground cable, and photometric file.
Did you give him anything on your determination on the looms required for the lighting?
You should have
He's
received
got
a
that
print out
chart?
of this.
I like his answer on that chart. That's something you emailed, Karen?
Yes, and
If you have, you can pass it on, right?
no, I have no response from. He wasn't instructed to respond back. He wasn't instructed
So we need
by
to
the
offer
board.
him payment for doing this, and can't we do that? No. Okay, I'm pretty much.
Oh, well, all right, gentlemen.
Can we, table this next meeting or until we get the information from our DPW director on how far he needs them out? And then also, can we contact our town engineer and get his basis on his comment? And have that for the next meeting?
It's a board decision.
I'd make a motion to provide the lighting sheet so that we get a response back from him, which I would hope would reply to what he said originally regarding the safety of the lights. Like Karen emailed him.
You want anything from DPW?
Yes, I would also like to have John's idea of how far they'd have to be back from the curb to be out of interference for the plowing and the stop sign. That's my motion.
So the specific question for the engineer was the lighting.
lighting, sufficient lighting for safety. They're claiming we don't have it, he was claiming we do, in the position he showed. I'd like his response back on that.
I think
We
we all
got two
agree,
professionals disagreeing, I'd like somebody to respond.
I think we all agree, the more you move them apart, diminishes the light quality, but the question is, how much?
Well, he claimed it was within the safety limit, as I recall, in his letter. He said you could move back to these properties and lighting would be sufficient for safety. We're hearing something different. I'd like somebody to get a chance to respond to that has the ability to do so. I don't. So, fair enough.
Motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Could we ask one additional question? If that's okay?
Sure.
Scott, could you ask?
Just have a question. If you guys do consider this through engineering and everything else, you did mention, you've never done this before, and you would have to possibly rewrite your requirements or whatever. We've been out of lights for a couple of months now, and it is dark, very, very dark for those kids. I'm wondering how long, if this would come to faith that it happened, how long are we looking at before those lights could be reinstalled?
I don't know.
I'm
From
asking-
our standpoint,
Yeah.
From your, not this, I'm asking you because you're talking about rewriting things. For that, I'm just asking the question. I mean, are we looking at 8 months? Are we looking at, I'm just asking a question.
well, if it has to be a new ordinance, we gotta write the new ordinance, that has to go in front of the board for approval. And we got to talk about the liability.
Well, you could have them up as soon as you wanted if you put them in your own space.
As I asked previous, if we do see that there is a mutual ground here, I'm asking how long would it take to be able to put that into your ordinance?
Our next meeting is November 1st, so not prior to November 1st is the best I can tell you.
No, I understand that, but I'm asking you how long of a process is that?
Well, at that meeting, it would be decided if we're gonna do this. If we are gonna do it, the lawyer says we have to write an ordinance to allow it for everybody, and we need to write a letter to you folks as a disclaimer for the insurance portion of it. Your guess is as good as mine on that one, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I don't
2
know.
months?
2 months?
That's what I'm just
Yeah,
looking
just,
for.
There's probably one difficulty in giving you a letter absolving you of liability. Is
No,
that
no,
I've
no,
heard-
absolving you.
No, absolving us of liability.
Yeah, there you go.
But, if my understanding is that probably you would have to have almost all your homeowners sign off on this thing. In other words, if one person objected, you'd be dead in the water. Now, I don't know what kind of response you got initially from your homeowners regarding putting these lights in, but I'm sure it wasn't 100%. So there's going to be some
well, we'll
possibility.
deal with that side of
Pardon?
it. I said, we'll deal with that.
Okay,
side
I'm
of
just
it,
giving you a
yeah,
heads
thank
up,
you.
you know, there could be some significant people out there that would say, no, I'm not signing this. No, I'm not accepting liability for anything that happens with those lights.
I'm gonna be pretty blunt here.
Yeah,
The reason you wanna put the lights back as close as you had bought, because you already have them and they're already paid for.
No, that has
And
nothing to do
you've
with
got, with the
location.
way you pull the poles out, you never pulled any wires out, you just filled them with torpedo sand. So the wires are down there, so all you gotta do is connect them to wherever you put them. Less work for the Wisconsin Electric. So, I just wanted to say that,
Yeah.
just blunt, so everybody understands where they're coming from.
Well, I-
They could buy bigger lights, or taller poles, whatever it takes to get
That's why I want the
more
engineer.
light.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
stuff is out there.
Okay. All right.
Request to adjust or reduce planning charges for invoice 4227 and 4774 Anthony Scafidi.
Yep. Anthony, you want to take a new microphone?
No, it doesn't matter. I have triplet sisters who are 10, so
Are you sure?
I'll be exposed already. Well, I don't need to put it on, do I? I need to touch it or anything? No.
Well, you shouldn't touch that one.
Talk
He
into
was
the
pretty-
microphone real clearly.
Here, Anthony, let me get you this one.
Yeah.
So just for clarification, nobody seconded my motion to do all that.
I did.
Yes, it was
Yeah,
seconded.
yeah,
There was a vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, we voted.
Yeah,
Okay, Just
yeah.
trying to catch up with where we're at, there was too much.
Okay, want to clip it or no? Okay.
So, state your case, Anthony.
Well, as quickly and easy as is possible, is that since February of this year, beginning of this year, I've been trying to work with the town of Vernon County. Unfortunately, it's a learning process for me. But the first meeting that we had, I was, it did happen 2 times, and I'm willing to, I just want to kind of figure out, I guess, going forward, is that this meeting didn't, I was there for 20 minutes, I think, 30 minutes, and the second I left, I had to, all the stuff that we talked about ended up being, I guess, no, like it had nothing to do with moving my property, the property forward, as far as the rezoning and stuff like that. And then, and I think I attempted to make a payment for that paperwork for the very first time in February, but then I was told to go to county. And I went to county, and they had no idea what was going on. So, I mean, it's not only like your guys', it's also my time that's kind of being wasted here, and I kind of thought we had like a mutual agreement that if the meeting had pertained nothing to moving the property forward, then we're kind of both out a little bit here. Because now that things are starting to happen, I believe, Karen, you introduced some other costs as well, right? Beyond the first one that we had, that was in March.
Yeah,
That was in March, right?
our planner attended a meeting at the county
Right.
to apply for his conditional use request.
Right, and that I'll pay, and I know that there's a lot of other costs that, as you guys probably know, that's going to be introduced to this process, which I'm fine with paying as long as it just keeps moving forward. For all the stuff that I've gone through with dealing with Vince and talking and just trying to, I guess, keep us going under good standing and not make it look like I'm not trying to do nothing. Like I'm trying to do something to, better,
Have you made any effort to clean that up out there?
Yeah, we spent the days and days of cleaning it out. We made it a point to, keep everything organized that is there. And
Is the wood gone?
which also, what's that?
I'm sorry, is the wood gone?
Yeah, I mean, there's some pieces of wood that are there in the front, and we're moving
Bringing up
it.
a point, because I drove after, you sent us a letter saying we need an extension, but by Friday it'll all be gone. I was there a week after that, it was still looking just the way it was before that.
Well,
There's a sign question, has that been resolved?
The sign?
The sign.
That didn't have anything to do, that was with the firework company.
Is it gone?
Yeah, yep, I actually put it, and I brought it back for them. But, as Chairman Bird knows, we're not, the biggest company here. We're trying to do what we can. I mean, we're dealing with stuff that, like I said, it's a learning process. This is the beginning, and I'd like to do whatever I can to work with you. And this is we are fixing stuff, just to make this all work. for moving, you know, the wood back, but I've also spent time with meeting with the county and Sharon Bird and about, making plans on where to put stuff out of sight and where to move stuff, and it's kind of like we're at like a stalemate almost, like we're just like trying to figure out what is what as far as what's gonna be tasked for me to do, like where do I go?
All right, Anthony, this invoice here for $217.80.
Mhm.
When did you meet here? 3/15/18? And that's when that invoice was. When did you meet with the planner?
When did I?
Yeah, did you or did you not meet with the planner?
Right,
On that date?
I did, yes, for about 10-15 minutes, and then I got a call saying that nothing that was
And what
talked
did you
about.
and the planner, how long did you meet?
I didn't have like a stopwatch on me, but it wasn't long. I know it was close to 20 minutes max, probably, not even. And I don't understand, he didn't do it like nothing, because there's nothing that would work. Sean couldn't do anything because it was out of, from what I was told, out of his hands and controlling. He said I had to go to the county.
But you did make an appointment and you did meet with the planner. So as great as.
Because that's what I was told to do.
Okay, but you did do that.
Right.
Okay, so he's got here an hour, 1.8 hours for $217.
Right.
Okay. Well,
Did he have to do research for you?
I think the only research he did was looking for ordinances and say that there's nothing that they had for ordinances, and I had to talk to the county for unspecified.
I'm trying to put in my mind how it went from 20 minutes to an hour and a half. He
Well,
charged
so-
That's why I'm confused.
his efforts. And a lot of times there are investigations required on this
Right.
part.
And that's fine, and I understand what you guys are doing, that's fine. I mean, if it's something that I have to do, then that's fine. The main thing is that I would like to just kind of make myself kind of present, I guess, and know that like I'm trying to do everything that I can to make this work. And I think that the only way to do that is to actually introduce myself and just say that if, I'm not trying to like be a cheapskate and get out of some, smaller tickets here or whatever bills, but.
No.
And then on 9/11, you met the county officials, myself and the planner at the county for 2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes, correct?
Yes, that is correct, and that I will be paying. I brought my checkbook, so I will pay that. That's totally understandable.
So what are you
And
looking
if
for?
I need to do that,
Yeah.
well, I need to look for going forward. This is why I'll cut to the chase. This is the main reason why I'm here. Is the communication between, like the gal was talking about earlier when she first came in here. Is the communication between county and town. When we were in that meeting, in the conference room or whatever, I was told, and I asked pretty clearly that when I gave the plans to the county, they would relay it to you guys for as far as where the operation's going to be and stuff like that. But they then they called me and said that you guys had canceled my appointment for October 10th.
No, we didn't have a meeting.
You didn't have a meeting, but
You missed the deadline.
Oh, yeah, see that's what I'm
And there's a
saying,
he wants to do an unspecified, so it's not like he can just come in with a plan of operation.
Right.
There's got to be a public notice, so it's not a simple request. So he couldn't meet that deadline, so he'd like to come in November,
Yeah.
which we are having a November meeting, but
Right, and there was and that was November 12th. I think that I had in my, or it is the first. Okay, there's the first.
I know, it's the 12th one you
it's the
looked at.
14th, November 14th.
So yeah, so November 14th. Okay.
So he basically is not questioning the fees.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it is.
That's what he's asking for, is to change.
What's it
He's
about
asking-
that 217?
Well, it's kind of just, if anything, I want to make it worth the payment and come in here and be able to talk to you guys about next meeting, and nothing is being, like before in February, I thought that things were being taken care of by the county, and they were communicating with you guys, but the whole time they weren't. So, like, I want to be, this 217 first thing is pretty much just my bargaining chip. I would like, I think that it's,
Oh, 90-day bargaining chip?
It's weird.
It's overdue by 90 days, that's not a good bargaining chip.
well, it kind of is. Well, you know, at first I was kind of, I guess, not happy about it with everything that was going on with trying to work with the county, and I had 3 meetings with
We're
the
not
county.
the county, see.
Was that?
We're not the county.
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get that, but I was told to have a meeting, and there would be a fee introduced, and we would get the ball rolling. And this is like a half a year ago. Now I have to wait another, half a year and go through all these other hoops. So that's just my thing. Like, and I know you guys spent time on it, so.
Anthony, when did you start your business operation? Approximately.
Well, I got the operation you're saying at the site there, or at
Yeah.
the
Yes.
National? Not even a year ago, we just started keeping trailers there. And
So
then
we're
we used
looking
it for
at,
personal
let's
use
be
about a year.
conservative, October of 17.
Yeah.
Your planning meeting with the planner that you're complaining about a fee was in January of 18. So my big question to you is, did you ever think you might have to contact someone before you set up a business on a residential property, number one?
Well, it was meant, first of all, to be just kind of a storage thing, keep a trailer or 2 there.
It never
but
was a
never
storage
be-
anything. I go past that property sometimes 5-6 times a day.
Mhm.
And this town has tried diligently to keep properties in decent order. People have been fined, threatened to be fined for not parking vehicles properly, leaving them overnight. And I'm going by your property several times a day, including evenings, and I see junk, garbage, the
Right.
biggest eyesore I know of in the town right now. And by the way, today I left the site. I've got a photo if anyone wants to see it. 4 or 5 pickups, trailers all over the place, wood still in place.
Today was,
So my question is, number one, you're talking about your time was being wasted, to quote you. Do you know how much time our poor building inspector wasted going after
Right.
someone who didn't
So-
have the courtesy to even call the town clerk and say, hey, I want to start a business in the town. What do I do?
I didn't think it was zoned agriculture, the owner never
Doesn't
brought it
matter
up.
what
can
it was
check that.
zoned. It doesn't matter if it was zoned industrial. You have no right to just start a business.
Anywhere.
Fire department doesn't know you're there, planner doesn't know you're there. What are you doing? What are you storing? It
Right.
doesn't matter what the zoning is.
I get it. I know. I get it, and it's something foolish. It's it's a mistake, and I mean, part of my.
Well,
A
mistake,
failure
you're
is starting
coming
a
around
business.
blaming other people.
I'm not blaming nobody.
You just said,
I said I will
you have
pay
a lot
for it,
of
but
time
I
has
wanna
been
be talking-
wasted. Your time has been wasted.
But I have been trying, ever since I first talked to Vince, I have been trying. He said, Vince told me, go talk to them and figure something out, and once we know something is going on, then, we'll go easy on you and we'll do it. But I never really got direct answers from either the board or the county. I mean, it's been troubling, but I'm not, I get it, I just want you guys to know that I'm trying to do something, and I would like to do something. I'd like to kind of just, I guess, come to an agreement here like that. If you guys want, I'll do it, whatever. I mean, I will do I get it that it's there now, and I'll take
Vince
care
was
of it.
talking to you long before January of 18. I know for a fact, because I talked to him. He was talking to you. And you knew you were in violation of codes at that time, correct?
He talked to,
In fact, I've got a copy of an email through the clerk's office where you said something to the effect that, well, can I just leave everything the way it is so when I'm approved, I won't have to move everything twice?
well, that was just recent, when I moved everything.
You never moved everything, never.
It's still there.
You don't think I moved anything?
You said everything. You moved different things. You started out with a
I
bookcase.
had to go talk to multiple homeowners in the area to move stuff out, and we filled up.
All right, this is going nowhere,
It
sir.
really is.
This is enough.
It really is.
I'm
I
gonna
didn't
make a
think it was-
motion that we deny these requests. He needs to pay
I'll
the
second.
bills.
Yeah. It's fine.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. You need to pay your bills, Anthony.
I understand, and I will. I just,
And you, I would recommend that you get, what does he have to do, Karen? Get on the plan commission agenda for,
I believe he's got a, I'll
That's with the
contact.
county.
I'll
That's all
con-
county jurisdiction.
is Dill County, all county jurisdiction? Oh, he did, okay, sorry.
I think he's applied.
You were supposed to apply and you didn't make that date.
He's got an
That's-
application.
The application, you
I'm-
were supposed to have that in a long time ago.
Yeah, he
to the
did,
county.
he did. He missed the October and now he
He's
wants to
going
come
for
to.
November.
Right.
Okay,
I have
all
So
right.
multiple-
that's not the town board's problem that you missed the county's date.
I don't get it. I don't, at a county's date, I gave them the
At the
paperwork.
meeting when we were at the
Right,
county,
at that one, yes.
they said that you had to have that in by,
Friday, I had it in by Friday. I was up until 3 a.m. on
well
Thursday
then
night.
how does the county say you missed the date?
That's what I'm confused on.
I'll
That's
get-
one of the reasons why I'm-
I'll get the
We'll
emails.
find that out.
Okay.
Because you have to have a formal application. Just because you said you want to apply,
I did, I've tried. I've gotten my application turned back with my check, turned back to me.
from the
So-
county?
From you guys, that was separate, but I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Then
but-
I did do it with county, and you can ask them, I've done, I think, 2 applications.
We have item F here, Vernon's response to Waukesha County on-site plan of operation. That was for Amy. I still want to hear what the other towns, did we get anything
That,
from?
Sharon Lear, they're talking about it at their next plan commission meeting, so you're gonna get some more responses. That's why I asked if it was okay if we responded November 1st
This will be on the agenda.
for next meeting, if that's okay with the board.
Okay. Correspondence and reports, I have none.
I have none also.
Gary?
I just want to mention that I attended a Wisconsin Towns Association convention this last weekend, and I participated, or I went to 4 different seminars on different aspects of town operation, everything from how this new conditional use law is going to affect everyone, which it was put in very plain, understandable in English, which I finally was able to comprehend. And I think it was a worthwhile adventure, and I'm sorry that the chairman couldn't make it with us because of injury, but he was missed. But the speakers were good. We got a chance to hear candidates that are running for governor and for states, for U.S. senator, which is always interesting. And along with it, I was there with the town clerk, and she also participated too, and I'm sure she could give her own report, but it was well worth the cost, I thought, going up there. So that's all I have, sir.
Eddie?
I think I might have misspoke earlier when we were talking to Alex about that new form. The fire commission will have to meet before they can send it back to the board, because they need the group to vote on what's going to happen, I guess. So my timeline for that might have been a little off, but short of that, we'll progress as they can meet the schedule they can, and we'll go from there. Okay? That's all I have.
Bill?
Nothing.
All right.
Always.
Financial?
Tom, do you mind if I do my report? I'll be very fast. I just want to remind the electors that we do have absentee voting please come in from 8 to 3:30 or call the clerk's office. If you can't make that, I can make an appointment. And please check the Town of Vernon website. We just got some information on funding for rural home grants and repairs to your home, so I'll put that on your website. Very good information in regards to some low interest loans from this from the federal government for repairs to your home. So I'll put that on the website or ask residents to contact the town. I'll give them that information. That's all I have.
All right. Financials. Accounts payable dated October 18. Any questions or motion?
Just one quick comment. I noticed, Karen, that you put on 64698 from 4th to ask whoever was working at put it colored so we could distinguish those columns. They missed it. It was a little hard to read, but short of that, everything looked pretty good to me.
I move we approve batch 2018-1018 in the amount of $57,870.38.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Manual checks, we have one,
We have two, Mr. Chairman.
two.
We added that 142 for, so it'd be a total of $512. One for the We Energies and for 370 and the 142 for capital. So it'd be 512.
Is there a motion?
And in the end of your manual checks, there was a request for 370, a manual check that I had to write previously for the electric company to get that finished at the VAC.
Right.
And then just yesterday, we got that, his Capital One bill came in, and I didn't want that to be late. So the manual checks would be 512.
512 total?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve manual check request in the amount of $512.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Citizens Bank quarterly statement, third quarter.
No motions is required, Mr. Chairman, but just for town board review.
You want this?
No.
Any questions or comments? September ACH transactions.
Make a motion to accept September 8th ACH transactions in the amount of $95,563.34.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Corrections? Actions?
You'd be in trouble if you had to make corrections.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Accounts receivable aging. Everybody take a look at that.
So you brought a checkbook, we kind of left it out right to check.
Yep. Howard just likes this in, just so you can see what, Howard likes that aging report, so, but I just want to let you know payments are coming in.
Oh, you had to know, you had it running through taxes by November 1st or something?
I have to double check that date. For Candy, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have very many, but.
You knew, I wasn't.
This is all going to shredder, right?
Yep, yes.
ACH,
Hmm.
is there a?
Yeah, you got a motion, that's
Motion.
done. You're on aging report now, Tom?
Accounts receivable?
Aging statement? What?
Are there any questions on the aging statement?
I didn't hear any.
And now you're into financials. Yay!
Right. Well, we're on accounts receivable, right?
Oh, you did that, dear, sir.
All right, okay, September. Financials.
Sorry.
Talking all over the
Sorry.
place.
Gary, stop it.
Any questions? No questions on the financials?
I've seen enough of that already.
Minutes. 4.
Did you see the changes, board members, that I emailed to you and put before you? They're just minor.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from Thursday, October 4th, of the town board supervisors meeting.
Second.
That was Bill.
Got it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Minutes from October 10th. Finance Committee?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright, next meeting date is November 1st. Public comments, are there any public comments? Any public comments? No public comments. Motion to move into a closed session. Motion is required to move into a closed session pursuant to 19.85 Pren 1, Pren G, conferring with legal counsel for the governing body, who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or likely to become involved, more specifically the Luckow-Lent annexation approved by the Village of Big Bend. Included in the closed session will be the town board, town clerk, and town attorney available by phone. The motion will require a roll call vote. Their motion.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Chairman Thomas Byrd?
Yes.
Supervisor Jeff Millies? Supervisor Gary Wiley?
Yes.
Supervisor Ed Moline? Supervisor Bill Craig?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, note for the record that you have unanimous consent to move into closed session.
All right.